Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I am Timbi Matroshe and I'm here with Lisa Vabaza. Today we will be discussing what polyamory means to us, as we both identify as polyamorous people. So if you're interested in that, come along, join us, have some fun with us. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe.
Polyamory is the practice of or desire for intimate relationships with more than one partner with the informed consent of all partners involved. It has been described as consensual, ethical, and responsible non-monogamy.
Okay, dope. Responsible non-monogamy. And I feel like
Consensual
the
is
key
very
words:
important.
consent, ethical, responsible, non-monogamy. To you, how do you define your own polyamory?
Plural love. Actually, someone
Yeah.
on my Twitter timeline, sparked this thing for me. It's a form of plural love that is very concerned with each and every single person involved in this non-monogamous type relationship setup. It's not always plural. Polyamory can also exist within two people who are in a relationship together. It doesn't always mean that you are practicing polyamory or not just because you're in a relationship with one person.
I think for me, it's always been interesting because I'm sexually fluid, so I've had experiences within heterosexual settings where the polyamory exists, and I've had that in queer experiences as well. But there's always a difference, and I can't attribute that to that person's gender or that person's sexuality. But I find that men typically think that polyamory is what we used to call back in the day an open relationship, where does whatever they want to do, and most of the time the focus is on the man, where the man is the one with multiple partners and you as the woman are on the receiving end. So in other words, you palatable cheating, or it's you're being pacified by saying that the relationship is open. Whereas with polyamory, it's a clear discussion, there's transparency, there's honesty.
There's a misconception that polyamory is about sex. And as much as sex is a part of relationships for some people, for others it isn't, obviously. Focus of it isn't always about the sex. There are people who can have fulfilling and meaningful polyamorous relationships which are not centered around sex, whether it's casual, whether it's whatever.
Yes. I also think that we tend to, because obviously polyamory also speaks to the fact that you have multiple partners, but those partners will be tiered. So we might have a primary partner, a secondary partner, tertiary partners, just multiple partners. So now the assumption is with the primary partner, that's where you share your emotions and the sex is also present. And then with your secondary partners, the assumption is that's just for sex, when that's not the reality. You can have multiple partners and you can be caring, you can love them, you can have feelings for each and every person, but just because someone is your primary does not go to say, oh, now that's the only person I'll care for, I'll treat with respect, I'll love.
Also, that's not the only type of polyamory there is. There's different ways of organizing in polyamory. There's the polyamory where someone is individually polyamorous, like they'll either join people's relationships or they'll have multiple partners as well. It's not always organized in the hierarchy of there's a primary partner and then secondary, etc. Some people have primary partners and don't have secondary partners. That's actually the structure of my relationship. We are polyamorous. My partner is my primary partner, but we have decided by ourselves, for our own reasons, that adding a secondary partner isn't something we want to go with for our own personal reasons.
Yes, but it doesn't change the fact that you are a polyamorous person, because it's an identity, it's a practice, it's a lifestyle, but it's also an identity. Like, some people have decided that they are polyamorous people and there's nothing that can change that. When did you decide to become polyamorous? Now, when I made that decision, it was to say monogamy is really not my thing, therefore it's not me, it's not who I am. Let me not fool myself, and in each and every relationship I will approach from here onwards, I will no longer be monogamous. And I think I made that decision in 2018. When did you decide and why did you decide?
So I think my process of deciding isn't defined to a specific moment. I started learning about polyamory at first in say around 2016.
Yeah.
When I was at UCT, where everything must fall, okay, guys.
Yonkinto.
So monogamy needed to fall as well.
Yeah.
But my understanding of polyamory at that time, I think, was very dangerous. Because I understood polyamory to be the opposite of monogamy. At first, I understood I was given the whole, speech about monogamy isn't natural. Gatekeepers, the polyamory.
I call African.
It's not natural, blah, 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 blah. So I was always on the defending side of polyamory when people would ask, why are you polyamorous, etc., etc. I was always on that bar. No, guys, I can't natural. We were never designed this way. Humans aren't designed. Does not be There's a lot.
We engineer.
That's what happened at first. But as obviously I did more research, as a person, I started to understand polyamory as a different way of loving that is something I hadn't actually been conditioned into. I didn't grow up seeing it. I didn't grow up talking about it or anything like that. So at some point I was like, you know what, I know a little bit more about polyamory and what it can mean to different people. And right now for me, I think this was since 2017 or 2018. Right now for me, I think I want to try it out because I want to see how else I can be outside of monogamy. Like I hadn't decided, don't go to polyamorous, that's it. But I decided, let me try it out. I started feeling safe within polyamory. I started accepting it, also accepting that I can love many people at the same time. It doesn't take away from one or the other. And mostly it was liberating. I'm also a Sagittarius, guys.
I think though, at the core of it, really, polyamory is about love and liberation. Whoever you choose to love, if you feel free and you feel loved, then that's the perfect and ideal space for you. What is your most interesting polyamorous experience? Let me start. Being cheated on within polyamory, because a lot of people don't understand that we are cheated on with polyamory. I was dating a woman and we had decided to be polyamorous. However, she did not want to be polyamorous. She wanted us to be monogamous. But I was like to her, I am a polyamorous person. I pull me in monogamy. So now the first red flag is accepting into that they do not inherently agree with or they do not inherently identify as. But for the sake of being in the relationship with you, they accept it. It's by TMI, so if close your ears. So we now decided that we want to have a threesome. And we had decided that on who we wanted to have the threesome with, and it was a man. And this was a man that she had a thing with in the past. So it was someone she was comfortable with. It was her suggestion, and I was like, okay, now I'm comfortable with this person, let's do it. While we're together, now I'm under the impression that these people haven't engaged like sexually or romantically in any way since me and her started dating. It's not to say she wasn't allowed to do that, but it's because she had proclaimed that monogamous. And basically the guy let slip that they had previously engaged together. And it's through a very awkward thing. Like the girl basically had a bruise on her leg, and it was through coitus that she got that bruise. And now the guy's just joking, like, oh, right, since the last time. Last time. And then it got up back experience. But I decided to be grand. Because the Zeglanders is a cool. The threesome, guys, it's not about pleasing one person. A threesome is like active, like pleasure for everybody involved. So now, it's supposed to be a one-sided threesome, and Akafuni to engage with this person because she has her own engagement with me, she has her own engagement with the guy. But now it's a bit glitchy because now we're not allowed to engage with each other. We're just supposed to please her. The threesome didn't happen. So I think for me, that must be the worst.
So you just shared your worst. Don't share your most interesting. Or was that also your most interesting? My worst experience was with a girl that hated me. Guys, during Ima's fall days, why is my life so centered around this day? So there was this person that I really liked. She was a flawless, you know, she was very much like, swear. You know, she was one of those people, an activist to the T. So I started seeing her like on campus and being like, cute, but she was dating one of the leaderships of Ima's four movements, as I say UCT. So also I was just like, yes, I don't mind the situation. I just about crank. But then, and this was also a man that she was dating. So don't get no confirmation about queer or not or what was happening. So then she started dating this other person from not this continent. So they were dating for some time, and then her partner left to go back to her home country. So this time I go out to Zeb's, and I was there, and did I not give this person like some lap dance vibes, whatever? But so like at that point, but okay, clearly I'm checking you, you're checking me type thing.
We're checking each
other. I think the first worst thing was that as I polyamorous relationship.
Yeah, we were bamboozled.
Okay, why are we polyamorous relationship? I didn't know, you know. The other thing was that she was still in contact with her partner. So after like 4 months of us dating, seeing each other, babes were post a picture on Instagram, what a happy anniversary. Hashtag 1 year. Guys. Actually, Namda said I was cheated.
I know.
In a polyamorous relationship. Not once, not twice.
3 times, damn it,
I got my license that day. I absolutely remember. I just got my license. Now we're going out to go celebrate whatever. I was still working. I was a waiter at this time at a restaurant in Cape Town. So actually I'm feeling a little tired. I don't want to go out. What I and I business about go out. So I'm like celebration like hatred.
How can you get a license?
And then you're going out to celebrate. Like what my fine, okay? Abuye nenye igirl ngaphakathi in the apartment. Ngaphakathi inside. Oh, the reason Bebuya is because imoto yake wayefake, like she had parked her car where I was staying. So then now she's coming back to fetch it. Bangene inside, and they wanted some wine or whatever. So Jabanika, because I'm just like, oh okay, I also know this person, so I have no bad vibes against them. We drink some wine, and I'm just like, okay, now guys, I'm gonna go to sleep, because now I'm under the impression that maybe this person is gonna Uber home. So Tina as lovers game. So from the bedroom, I can see what's happening in the living room, right? I feel babes, I see Uber. Lise, I'm gonna go home. So I'm like, what do you mean you're gonna go home? It's like midnight. It's like you usually tell me you're scared of driving at night, but today you're not. Like, what's happening? Did you get like, okay, cool, bye, I'll see you. I don't know what happened, because I'm not an early riser, but I don't know what happened that day. I decided, let me go to campus early to go get an early start to the day, prepare my tats, whatever. Guys, at that time now I would get to campus at 10 usually, but that decided, 6 I campus, that's literally what I'm doing. I get to lower campus. Opposite Taco is a vehicle that I recognize. It is like what? It's 6:30. It wasn't even like a real time. So I'm like, and the person who was with her last night stays at Tago. Like I knew that she did. Quickly, guys, cute little car, chilling there. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a picture of this car so I can have a timestamp. Because one thing you're not gonna do is bamboozle me, but because I was bamboozled again, it's fine. Anyways, that was the second one. I'm not gonna share the third one because it's very wild.
And it's all within the same relationship as a hatred.
That's it. So many times I was hated on. I hated myself. There were so many things, but that was my worst experience with polyamory, and it almost made me feel like but because again the fighting spirits, and
I want to know though, when because you were like, you got into the relationship unaware that it was polyamorous. At what point were you aware?
When Kanogo post a happy anniversary. No.
I mean, like, did you just get with the program now?
I got with the program, sir. But you know, Liz, it's not like that. You know, we hadn't really like wrapped up things.
I know!
That is not lie. You told me you guys had broken up.
One thing about her, she hated you.
Yeah, sis, she really hated me. But anyways, one finesse and I'm the finesse. Worst assumes that there was best. So we just did worst.
I think my previous relationship was the best. Mainly monogamous though, because basically locked down, so there weren't many opportunities to be engaging with different people. But I think once the country opened up a little bit, we were very clear like about our polyamory. But one thing we had decided was we are each other's primary partner. We do have like some sort of digital presence like on social media, so there's just certain things you need to respect, like certain things, because not everybody knows the dynamic of your relationship. Not everyone will know that you're polyamorous. So now all of a sudden, just like an example, but abantu will see you in public with somebody else. Next thing, people are kikiing, but oh, Banban is cheating,
Sure.
or you are shooting your shots. Like one thing we were
because
always,
that's also.
you know, one thing we were always respectful about was we had open communication. So like if I wanted to shoot my shot at someone via DM, we'd discuss it, not in like a weird way, but I'll just be like, oh, I like this girl, like what do you think I should say? Even in those instances, when you are DMing people, there's that risk of a relationship. Now how do they navigate that, because now it looks like you're cheating? So from the onset there must be that clear line of communication about I have a partner, we're polyamorous, disclaimer. But like it went very well. Like the reason we broke up had nothing to do with the polyamory, because it was always respectful, always ethical, always transparent. And even in some instances, because with polyamory you learn as you go, you're not always going to have like concise or clear discussions about an issue. Sometimes the issue needs to happen and then you cross that bridge when you get there. So even in some instances where a line was crossed, we'd address it and be like, okay, that is a new boundary that we're creating, and then we keep moving in that way.
Sure. My best experience, number one, of a relationship is the one that I'm currently in now.
Yeah.
And then also of polyamory is also the relationship I'm currently in now. We didn't start out as polyamorous. We started out in a very monogamous relationship. But then along the line, because polyamory into yabantu and into yam,
eventually,
you know, it reared its head. So when I started like thinking about, you know, speaking to my partner about this thing, I was like, you know what, I need to tread very, not carefully, but I need to be very gentle and I need to be very kind about this thing, because she was a serial monogamous at the time. What happens in a space where one person is monogamous and the other is polyamorous? So, but what happened was that we had a conversation about it, and I think our conversation lasted for a whole month. Like each and every day, it wasn't a thing of like I'm convincing you to do this and you're convincing me you don't want to do this. It was just a thing of there'd be random questions along the way. So how would it work if this would happen? Okay, what's it gonna look like when that happens? So there's a discourse around this workshop. We really did we really did workshop this thing. And then, like you said earlier on, there are certain boundaries that arise only after the fact. After something has happened. Sometimes you think that even when you set up a boundary before, you think that that's okay, that's just how it's gonna be. But then you get to the situation where something is actually happening that may be going against the boundary. And you're like, Yazini, let's pin this workshop.
Exactly.
Like, let's go back to the workshop.
It's just a series of workshops in polyamory, guys.
Definitely. Our communication has definitely improved. Much more from when we were monogamous. Because I think sometimes in monogamy, you think things are a given. Some things are a given, but in polyamory forces you to see that not everything
and you can't always assume. And you start to look at like things such as loyalty, honesty in a very different way, like things that were always a given in a monogamous setting.
When do you feel is the right time to disclose that you're polyamorous to someone you're pursuing?
Of course it depends, right, on how you and the person started to engage. Because sometimes you meet someone and they already know your politics, they know what you stand for. I mean, even in your bio you've written they're polyamorous. So sometimes a person meets you automatically knowing about who you are. But from a very personal perspective, it usually would be we are obviously going through a talking stage, because that's how most relationships work these days. And then as things are heightening, because now you've probably got multiple people that you're seeing at the time, then as things are heightening, you focus on that person and you probably let go of your hoes. And now that you guys are at that stage of what are we, you guys define it. So it won't necessarily be at the start, but once you guys are in that space of, and this is just from a personal perspective, once you guys are in that space of defining what you are, the chat of, are we going to be polyamorous, are we going to be exclusive, always comes up. And I feel that even in monogamous settings, that conversation comes up, because you can be a monogamous person but have a non-exclusive relationship. So it's at that point where you decide, are we exclusive, are we not exclusive? And then you as the polyamorous person will be like, I'm polyamorous, like and this was not exclusive. And then you navigate from there. Navigate at petty campus.
Christopher Columbus.
And queer polyamory is the constant case of navigation every day.
That's true.
With you, like, when do you? Of course, you explained with you guys it took like a month, but now in your other engagements.
In my other engagements, I think now by day 2 of talking, I have to tell you, because
of course, yeah.
Firstly, I don't want to surprise anyone. I don't want. Number one, they're amazing, ne?
Yeah, definitely. That's a fact. That's a fact. As your friend, I can. So amazing.
Also, my dating style. Now, I'm a very gentle, caring person. I'm always like, I will make the space safe for you. I'll make the space very loving and whatever. So, abantu bayathanda draw up pictures, ne? Yeah, even though polyamorous in my bio, I've actually come across someone who didn't know what that meant. So, a slider, you know.
Yeah.
So what I've decided now is that by the time that we are still, the conversation is continuing. So there's obviously the initial, slide in, maybe if it's via DMs, or the initial thing of, I like you, I'd like to chat to you.
Yeah.
By the time the conversation feels like, hi Tanisha, but still at the very, very beginning, I'm always like, okay, I do like you, etc., etc. I need you to know that I am polyamorous.
Yes.
I am in a relationship and my partner is a primary partner.
Yes.
This is our setup, whatever.
Yeah.
You let me know, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Like, do you want us to continue talking or not? Because I really don't want to shock anyone's child. I don't, or sometimes it can happen that the conversation is so great that by the time I tell you when things are heightening, I tell that person that then they accept it just because they like me. So I also think that for me, I found that it's better for me to communicate that at the beginning. Yeah.
I think that's very ethical, because for me, I'm navigating as a single person. If you're in a relationship, so obviously when I was in a relationship, I wouldn't just be talking to people and then waiting for things to heighten. You have to, like, if you are in a relationship and that person might be your primary partner, I feel that it's necessary to disclose. It's sad, because a lot of the time a monogamous person will accept a polyamorous relationship even when they aren't comfortable with the arrangement, but because they want to squeeze themselves into your definition,
true.
And other times that person is hoping, this is the saddest part, and I guess that's the worst, that's my worst experience of polyamory, where the person is hoping that you will someday turn monogamous. They don't want to disappoint you, they don't want you to reject them, so they just go along with the polyamory, hoping that they will show you that I'm such an amazing partner, why don't you want to be with me? They are enduring, and we hatred at that point, because when you are displaying this act of hate towards them, constantly being your polyamorous self, and they secretly have the expectation of you one day becoming monogamous, and it's not gonna happen.
Personally, a queer polygamy.
I love that for you.
And people always ask me, now how's it gonna work? Wonkumtu can do what they wish to do.
You can be exclusive, but as polyamorous.
Sure.
And there are times, Lisa even said this to me once, but there are times in the relationship where there are moments of monogamy, and then when you now evoke polyamory, who's gonna mourn the monogamy. These are her words. She was the one explaining this to me, because relationships ebb and flow. It's not going to be one linear thing. Sometimes they're polyamorous, sometimes they're exclusive, but all of that is happening under like the umbrella of polyamory.
Sure. And the mourning part about it is very important because it's a concept I learned as well. Like, we mourn breakups, even naka monogamous. So naka polyamorous as well. There's going to be that thing, you know. Sometimes you're mourning a breakup while you have your partner.
Yes.
It doesn't make it invalid. It doesn't validate it more, anything like that. It's the process of life, guys. And then you lose them. You're going to feel something.
Thank you guys so much for watching. That was our little hot take on what polyamory is and what it means to us. Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining and sharing your insights. I hope you had a wonderful time.
I really did. I might start my own YouTube channel
Please,
on polyamory and stuff.
Yeah, we need you on this platform. Cool. So don't forget, guys, to comment, like, and subscribe.
Always remember,